All this month on our show, we are honoring and committing to the work of Black August. That's the yearly celebration of Black freedom fighters, past and present. In this vein, tonight, we're going to take a look at an online exhibition. It's called Umis Archive. It examines the legacy of 1970s Black power activism through the eyes of one woman's mother who worked closely with frontline members of the movement. Here to tell us more is the exhibition's curator, anthropologist Suad Abdul. Khabeer. Suad, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Of course. I want to start with the name of the exhibition. It's called Umis Archive. Explain that to people.
Yeah, definitely. So Umis Archive, Umi is Arabic, or I should say Black Arabic is what I call it, for mommy or mother. And so Umi's Archive is my mother's archive. It's a multimedia project that draws on her life to explore the meanings of being Black in the world. My mother was born Audrey Weeks in Harlem in 1950, and she became an ancestor in Queens as Amina Matal Haqq in 2017. And when, as you go through people's stuff, as you do when people pass on, I'm going through her stuff and I'm seeing all these things that I'm like, yo, other people need to see this, right? Because there are people who are going to be able to relate to what's in her archive. And then there are people who are going to be inspired by it, because I think her generation is one that we still have a lot to learn from, And so I'm creating Umi's Archive, a place where we can remember the past, but also dream, right? Build on those memories to dream something new. So that's what Umi's Archive is.
Wow. So talk to me about the past, and then we're going to get to the dreaming part, because that's the beautiful part about Black August, is those freedom dreams that we've always produced as a people. But talk to me about the past first. What's in the archive? What's the stuff that we're looking back at?
Yeah, so, the way that it works, so this kind of version of Umi's Archive started in April, and every month is a different theme connected to something significant in Black life. So as you mentioned, this month is Black August. And so this month's theme is called Black Power and Its Legacies, right? And I'm looking at that through the life of my mother. And then there's a collection called Free 'Em All, right, in the exhibition. And so in that collection, one of the things I found when I was going through her stuff that I didn't realize was how significant the prison was as an institution in her life, even though she had actually never been incarcerated. So, for example, in that collection, there are letters, right? Because she went to Ohio State University as a student. She was part of arts groups. They would go to the prison, right, and perform for people who are incarcerated. So there's correspondence between her and other people who are incarcerated. They were part of a program where they would bring folks out of jail, which I didn't realize they let people do back then, because it's like 72, and they would bring them to Ohio State University to get them matriculated, so that when they were released, they could become part of the university. She also in the collection, she advocated for people who were incarcerated. And in fact, she actually took her Shahada. She became Muslim at a prison, although she was not incarcerated. But, political prisoners, right, there are many of them. So she would visit folks who were also Muslim. And so she took her Shahada at Greenhaven Correctional Facility, which is in Stormville, New York. And the man who gave her Shahada was incarcerated. His name was Imam Rasul, also Robert 35X, and he was one of Malcolm X's right-hand men, right? So these ways that the prison kind of shows up. And then the advocacy she did. Like, one of the things that's in the archive is a sticker that declares Mumia Abu Jamal free, right? There's all of this, there's these tapes and papers around Imam Jamil Al-Amin, as well as a brother Shuaib Abdul Rahim, who she advocated for as well. So there are all these things in the archive that speak to, right, her engagement, right, with the prison industrial complex, particularly early on, that she continued to do so as what we would call now an abolitionist. I don't think she was using that language for herself, but that's what was going on. So those are some of the things that you find in this archive, as well as there's this paper, Jihad News, that was a part of the Revolutionary Action Movement, right? There's a copy for African Liberation Day. I think one of the photos they just shown was her. So the first African Liberation Day at Ohio State, her dance group, they performed there. She also, in her life, was a member of the Black Panther Party. So there were lots of things that she did in her life around this question. And so those are some of the things you find. Also, my mother was a New York City public school teacher. Oh, sorry.
No. I'm amazed at this. Your mama did everything.
She kind of sort of did. But the thing about it, which I love, is that she's not singular, you know? Like, so she was an everyday woman who lived an extraordinary life, but she wasn't singular. She's a part of a generation, right, that you and I come from, that we can learn from, right? And so that's really the point. I think I really want people to not think, oh, wow, you know, Sister Amina or Umi was so amazing, oh, no one else is like that. No, actually, no. A lot of people were like that, right? And I think we have a lot of stories, and we have a lot of archives that remain to be shared, right? Remain to be gathered and to be uplifted and amplified. And so part of what I want to do with this is do that. And this exhibition that I was just talking about opens on this Saturday with a conversation, a live stream conversation between myself and Jihad Abdul. Jihad Abdul is a former Black Panther Party member, a former member of the Black Liberation Army, and a former political prisoner. And he's currently national chairperson of the Jericho movement. So he and I will be in conversation on Saturday at 3 p.m. online to talk about the archive and Umi's archive and also his archive, right? Because there are all these ways in which they intersect. And so I'm looking forward to doing that.
Wow.
And one other thing I'll share about it
This
is
is
we're going to have a
important
letter
work.
writing
No,
campaign.
this is. I want to get back to that letter writing campaign in a minute. I wanted to raise a point though that you're really getting at here for me, which is that not only do our parents and our ancestors more generally have all sorts of resources to offer us, so many stories, so many images, so many contributions to our freedom. But there's a piece in your archive that I think is really important, and that is that it also spotlights the role that women play in our liberation. But too often when we narrate history, we think about it as a bunch of men organizing and leading us to freedom, and the women we're seeing as almost adjuncts or assistants, side position players, as opposed to at the center of the struggle. And it seems to me that, and you're talking about some radical stuff here. You're not just talking about middle of the road, passive organizers and activists here. You're talking about the Revolutionary Action Movement, RAM. You're talking about the Black Panther Party. You're talking about people who liberated folk from prison, people who dared to imagine entirely new organizations of what America could look like. And women were leading these movements. They were doing the teaching, the organizing, the yelling. They were standing at the front lines of this stuff. How important is it to you, as a Black woman,
Right.
to highlight the role that Black women play in this struggle?
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because one of the other things I found in the archive was my mother's college transcript, and she took a marksmanship class in 1972. As I said, used to speak about the revolutionary part of it. But yes, I think it's important. So I think there are two things that are important about her: that she's a woman and that she's an everyday person. Most people have not heard her name before, right? Outside of like maybe New York City, people haven't heard of her, right? Outside of maybe a national Muslim community, haven't heard of her, right? That she's not a Kathleen Cleaver, right? But she is like a kind of a foot soldier in the movement. She is someone who really participated. So as a woman and as a regular person, and then also how it extends. You know, one of the things about another collection in the exhibition is called Education as Activism, because my mother ended up becoming a public school teacher. And in our society, public school teachers are not valued, right? They're not valued members. And so people aren't really excited that someone became a teacher. But if you look at her commitment to the movement and to struggle, if you look at what Black radicalism is about, education is really important. And not education as like upward mobility, but education as liberation, right? How are we going to sort of unlearn the things that hold us back and then relearn and educate and create things that can push us forward, right? And so that also, I think, is an important part, right? And I think women often end up in roles like teachers and organizers and people who are building things, not necessarily always in the front, although she did her fair share, out in front stuff too. But I think that's also really significant. And really for me, I just want people to recognize that the movements of the past, as well as the movements of the present and the future, depend on all of us, right? It's not just one single person. It's not one single man, but all of us have played a role, do play roles, and will play roles. And that's the only way we actually will sort of reach the liberation I think we're seeking.
Tell people one more time how they can access Umi's archive and how they can find out all the amazing work you're doing.
Yes, so Umis archive, UMISARCHIVE.com. Everything is there. You can click on Stay in Tune, sign up. You'll get the link for Saturday's conversation. Right now, you'll see the previous exhibition that closes tomorrow, which is on Afrocentricity and Pan-Africanism. And then on Saturday, we're moving on to Black Power. and its legacies. And I'll be joined on Saturday at 3 p.m. with Brother Jihad Abdul to open the exhibition. So to it, everyone is welcome.
Well, we can't wait. Well, we can't wait to check it out. I'm sure everyone will do. Suad Abdul Khabeer, thank you so much for joining me on Black News tonight. Everybody stay with me because coming up, we got a lot more to talk about in these digital streets. Stay with me.